Imagine 22 JB74 Suzuki Jimnys tackling the most gruelling and remote tracks in Australia. This is going to be the ultimate test for these little rigs. This is the Wildtrak Australia Gunbarrel Highway series. From almost running out of fuel at Sandstone to making Carnegie Station, we've experienced the highs and lows of an overland trip, but the real roller coaster is about to begin. The unmaintained and remote section of the Gunbarrel Highway is going to be extreme. Strap yourselves in, guys, it's going to be epic. Good morning team, here we are at Carnegie Station and the wind has definitely come up this morning and it is actually quite cold. So everyone's getting their camp gear together and we're going to get straight back out on the Gunbarrel Highway. After speaking to Brendan, the station manager, it seems that the next 180 k's of road is actually pretty good, but after that, the real rough stuff and the adventure begins. So the next campsite is roughly 200 k's away at Geraldton Bore, and there's also a football field halfway between there, so we're gonna get out and have a kick. When using this opportunity to double check our fuel and water before adventuring into the great unknown. This is the longest section of our trek with almost 500 kilometres between Carnegie Station and Warburton. With no access to civilization, if something goes wrong out here, you could be in real strife. The condition of the track is some of the roughest terrain in Australia, with some sections of the original track remaining ungraded from its construction in 1958. Part of our preparation for this trip was to make sure we had plenty of firewood before we headed into the desert. We took roughly 800 kilos in the back of the support vehicle. However, seeing some dead wood on the side of the road, we used this opportunity to top up our supplies. The Gunbarrel Highway was built as part of Australia's role in the weapons research establishment called Woomera, which included Emu Field and Maralinga, both atomic bomb testing sites. The name comes from Len Bedell's Gunbarrel Road Construction Party, so named as his intention was to build roads as straight as a gun barrel. The further we got into the Gunbarrel Highway, we found up on the hills and high points stacks of rocks with surveying marks. These were used by Len Bedell and his team during the construction of the Gunbarrel Highway. So this is the original marker and it's amazing that it's still here. We've been on the road now for a few hours and we remembered that the guys at Carnegie Station told us about a footy field. Now you're not going to find any green grass out here, it's just two posts and some rocks, but we had a bloody good time. So we've made it through to what's either the WACA or the MCG. There's a sign over there that's going to tell you which one it is. This is a AFL field / cricket field that the station owners have carved out at some point that they'll come here and gather and kick the footy around every now and then. It's absolutely brilliant, just on the right hand side of the Gunbarrel Highway as you head east. So Will, go ahead mate, give me a go. Oh, he shanked it. Well, maybe not this time, but still absolutely brilliant. Either way guys, it's about 50 k's through to our next campsite, and with any luck we'll be able to make camp in the next hour or two. Enjoy and I'll see you up at the next campsite. The Jimny has an absolute pedigree in off-road driving, but one of the major advantages on a track like this is how nimble these little vehicles are. Being able to get on the anchors and change tracks at a moment's notice is an absolute advantage for such a compact little beast. After a few more hours of punishing driving, we've stopped at Geraldton Bore. This artesian water supply was constructed by the Geraldton Historic Society in July of 1982. The trail's been okay today, the Jimnys are eating it up, and we're going to crack on to the next spot for our campsite. When you're on the Australian outback trails, they can be dusty, wet, and sometimes even muddy, and there is no better product to protect your gear when it's up on the roof. This is the Thorny Devil Rooftop Bag. Heavy duty PVC, durable stitching, waterproof zips, and a weatherproof Velcro overlay. At 200 litres of capacity, this frees up valuable space on the inside of your vehicle, moves it up to the roof, yet still protecting all of your gear from the harshest of the Australian conditions. As you can see, this is the perfect place for those bulky items like bedding and sleeping bags. Throw it up here and it'll be perfectly protected. And mounting this bag to your roof couldn't be easier with 8 straps that are compatible with all roof rack systems out there. And talk about durability, this one's been on the road for the last 8 days and everything inside is bone dry and dust free. So before you head off on your next outback adventure, make sure you ask for Thorny Devil and Wildtrak at your 4-Drive and camping store. Just past Geraldton Bore, we found our night 5 camp. This bush camp straddles the Gunbarrel Highway and it's a good opportunity for us to check in with the guys and see what they're cooking up tonight.
Baked spuds wrapped in a bit of alfoil, and we'll fill the hole over here with coals and just chuck them in and they'll bake up over about an hour.
Where's my wine, Dave?
I put it.
It's very French, so very no, it goes with that big. Oh yeah.
Literally bury the potatoes in the coals, and they'll take about, I can give them an hour, and then they'll just be like creamy inside. Mix them with a bit of butter. That's it.
So night 5 of the Wildtrak Jimny trek all the way across the Gunbarrel Highway, and guys, we're having an absolute ball here tonight. The campsites are scattered out a little bit, as you can see behind me there. Everyone's getting tucked into their dinner. You can see the campfire that we've got going here. We're going to cook ourselves up some grub pretty soon. The track has definitely turned it on for us today. It's getting much more challenging and the vehicles are certainly up for it. All of the Jimnys are performing really well, and the best part about it is that there's been no breakdowns, so that's absolutely fantastic. Apart from that, guys, it's time for us to get tucked into some dinner, nice quiet night, and then it's day 6 of the Gunbarrel Highway. It's the morning of day 6 and the guys aren't wasting any time, finishing up breakfast and heading straight out into the Gunbarrel Highway. A quick check of the GPS to make sure we're on the right track and we're on our way east. At this stage of the trip, the team is splitting up into some smaller groups. The track is becoming more challenging and unpredictable for such a large number of vehicles to navigate. One of the most amazing parts of this journey has been tracking through the Gibson Desert. A vast dry region of sand hills and desert grasses, rocky outcrops that give way to rolling red sand dunes. The scenery changes by the hour. In the distance we see Mount Beadell, and there's only one way to get to the top and check out those 360-degree vistas. Low range and give it some jandle. So on day 6 of our Gunbarrel adventure, we've made it all the way to the top of Mount Beadell. Now Mount Beadell is so named after Len Bedell, widely regarded as the last true Australian explorer, and it's because of the decades of hard work from Len we actually have the Gunbarrel Highway here, which was completed just after World War II. Now at the peak of Mount Beadell is a memorial in Len's honour, some survey equipment looking down the Gunbarrel Highway all the way to the west. What an amazing piece of Australian history, and the day is almost done with only 5k's to go down to Camp Bedell. We've had an awesome day of punishing technical off-road tracks and awesome historical landmarks. It's time to set up camp and enjoy a well-earned beer. With the campsite set up, let's go see Dave for a full rundown of the Wildtrak Australia JB74 Suzuki Jimny. Here we are, Dave, end of day 6 and making camp for the 6th night. What do you reckon? Pretty hardcore day with the Jimnys running wild?
Yeah, it was. There was plenty of choice of tracks. That last 100k's was probably the most gruelling of the lot, and really made the Gunbarrel live up to its name. But you know, the cars did what they are designed to do, and a nice little short wheelbase car buzzing through this sort of countryside is exactly what they like to be doing, so they performed absolutely fantastically.
So while we're at the mountain, the Jimny's got an opportunity to do a pretty awesome hill climb there.
Yeah, they did.
And speaking of Jimnys, we've got the Wildtrak Jimny here, and she's done up really well.
Yeah, she did. We had a bit of a crack at high range, and but that last little bit was just a little bit too much for us, so we popped her into low range and snuck up the hill with no trouble at all.
So we've chosen Jimnys for this trip for one man and one car, but can you tell us a little bit of history about Suzuki Jimnys?
Yeah, look, Jimnys were originally designed for the Japanese Forestry Commission, so that they could get workers in and out of the forest relatively easy with a nice simple 4x4 system, and that's how the powertrain and the transmission system was developed.
They've held a pretty standard ladder frame construction across the entire range since they were Sierras all the way through to the Jimny range. How do you reckon this newest Jimny's performing for you?
Oh, I think it just exceeds all expectations. I mean, the base model Jimny that you get is a good vehicle, you know, in itself. But you know, if you're planning on doing some trips like this, you need to add a few extra components to it and you know, lift the load carrying capacity a bit. We're sort of right in the middle of the outback here, and you need to be able to carry some decent gear to do the job.
Now, speaking of carrying some decent gear, let's have a quick walk around of the Wildtrak Jimny.
Yeah, well, they're running a little 1.5 4-cylinder engine. Which in my opinion, you know, provides the car with a pretty, you know, sensible power to weight ratio. It's perfect for this sort of work really, from a fuel economy point of view and performance point of view.
There is still a little bit of space in here. A lot of people like to throw the air compressor under the bonnet, sometimes a dual battery system. Have you done anything under here yet?
Well, we put in the Torque performance system, being the snorkel and the exhaust and the throttle controller, which gave it that ability to breathe a little bit extra. In this situation, when we built this car up, we put the compressor under the front seat and we built a second battery system in the vehicle because we just felt that engine space was a little bit tight for anything else.
And how about here at the front? So we've got the front bar and some spotlights and a winch as well. So tell us about what we got here.
So this is just the Ironman steel bull bar, lights and winch system. We chose to go down that road along with the GVM upgrade and suspension system. It was really a personal choice as to what bar I took. I like the hoops around the headlights rather than them chopped off, because I feel if we're going to have it, we might as well make it good if we're going to hit something. And you know, I just think the quality of the Ironman stuff's, you know, pretty good.
So with the Ironman winch, what's the pulling capacity?
It's 9,000 pounds, Tony. So,
9,000 pounds?
Yeah, pretty heavy.
Wow, that's going to be enough to pull you up Mount Beadell.
It will. It'll pull you straight up a tree if you want, but hopefully we don't have to use it for that.
I guess the good thing is, especially on those short pulls, pulling another Jimny out of the bog would be pretty easy then.
Yeah, it will be, and you know, when you sort of get up around that Kimberley area and those sorts of places, there's always somebody, you tend to use your winch more to pull other people out than yourself.
And to wrap up at the front, you've got some Ironman recovery points down there as well.
Yeah, well, I think that's important. You know, if you get stuck somewhere and you know, you get a bit of leverage going on, you've got to have those recovery points, and I fitted a tow bar to the back.
Fantastic, let's move on to the side. Righto Dave, so moving on to the side here, I noticed you've got some rock sliders, upgraded wheels and tyres, and an upgraded suspension kit. So you can tell me about those? Yeah,
so our rock sliders are, you know, standard Ironman rock sliders, but they're important for this sort of travel, for sure. The wheels we've fitted are 235 75 15s on American Racing alloy rims, and they've performed very well as well. And the suspension upgrade, which was one of the most important things to do for a trip like this, and that is the Ironman GVM upgrade, which gives you a 50mm lift, new springs, new shocks, and an actual increase of the GVM to 750 kilos, and that just allows us to do the other mods to the car and get it on the track.
Fantastic. Now, one of the things I really like about the Wildtrak Jimny is all of the awesome branding and the wraps that you've got done here. I reckon it looks absolutely magic, mate.
Yeah, well, we've dressed her up so she looks the part, and it goes really, really well against the colour tone of the car with the black roof. And it also really works in for our brand, so we're really happy with the way that was done.
Now, speaking of the roof, let's jump up here and have a look. Righto Dave, so I'm up here on the roof and you've got a fair bit going on. I see a roof rack system, some storage boxes, storage bag, and some work lights. Can you tell me what you've got up here and why you've chosen those ones?
Yeah, we went with the Rhino rack system, must to make sure that we've got a shovel for this trip. We put some LED lighting around just so we can find the bush camp after dark if necessary, and just get a bit of light on the job if we need it, if we're working on the car. And then we used the Thorny Devil 4x4 storage bag, which has been really, really fantastic just to store our lighter camping gear stuff in. The box you're sitting on, Tony, is a Rhino box, and that's just got some light clothing and stuff in it. We just wanted to make the best out of the rooftop without making it too heavy.
Now, with your working lights, have you got those individually switched inside the vehicle?
Yeah, they're just switched up on the front dash so that you know, when you come into position or you're looking through the bush, you can flick them on or reversing. It's pretty handy.
Now, I got up here by this neat little ladder you've got at the back. You want to tell me about that?
Yeah, the ladder system at the back is handy. You can step up there and get on top to get stuff out fairly quickly if you need it. It's a relatively cheap accessory and works really good with the Jimny.
Fantastic. All right, mate, I think it's about time to look in the back.
Sure.
So apart from this pretty cool ladder you've got at the back, what else can you tell me?
Well, we fitted a really sturdy bin bag, which is made by Thorny Devil as well, and that's performed very, very well on the trip and no complaints there at all. The other really interesting product is we fitted a tow bar, but we've fitted this really cool tow bar step. It works when you open up the door and gets you straight up into that top box.
Fantastic. All right, let's have a look inside at your cargo system. Okay, going into the back here, Dave, I have to say this is my favourite area and easily the most customised cargo system that I've seen. You want to run us through here?
Yeah, look, I'd like to. We put a lot of time into putting this together. For the 22 Jimnys that we've got going, about 18 of the guys really just wanted a customised type setup that we could pretty much plug and play. We connected it up in the front just through an Anderson plug and a trigger switch for the DC to DC battery. So we're running a 100 amp lithium battery with a 20 amp DC to DC charger that just runs off the ignition of the car. Incorporated underneath the fridge, we've got a 40 litre pressurised water tank, and it drives this shower setup here just to get your water in and out, or you can have a cold shower if you like. And then on top of that, what we did is we incorporated this 50 litre Wildtrak Cool Light fridge system, and we manufactured a really nice cage over the top, so when you pull that fridge out you just don't have all your other luggage falling in behind it. So that works really, really well. It left us with a nice little storage spot down the side here, which interestingly fits a lot of little 6-pack cans, it fits your pillow and a whole other host of different things. And then what we did is we built a cargo space here that just lifts up, and that's, in my case, has got all of our cooking and some of our food and some of our stores in here. And that's really how we maximise the space for the trip. Included in that, we put a battery powered lighting in there so we're not drawing on the power system during the night. And then we just used up space in other ways, like little hooks to put other light fittings and toilet paper and those sorts of things in the back.
Awesome. I have to say, I've got the same fridge in my car at the moment, and it's worked a treat during this Gunbarrel trip.
Yeah, I mean, we've done some pretty extensive testing with these cool light fridges, and they're really, really impressive. Get a lot of space, and in particular for the Jimnys, they're a nice, tall, slender fridge, and that gives you that extra space off to the side, you know, leaves you with some good usable space off to the side.
Fantastic. All right, let's have a look at the front and see what you've done in there.
Sure.
Righto, Dave. So moving into the driving compartment here, notice you've got a UHF, a pressure indicator system, and you've got a hidden gem under the seat. Can you tell me about your UHF?
Well, we've gone the Jimny 80 channel UHF, which the whole group's done, and that means we can, you know, run the app if we need to use any of the sort of radio direction finding stuff. I'm particular about my tyre pressures when we're out in the bush, so I like to run a tyre pressure monitoring system on all my vehicles.
And what have we got under the seat?
Well, we've got an ARB single cylinder compressor under the seat, just to keep those tyres in good order and use for other things.
It's actually quite surprising how much room you do have in here.
Yeah, well, you got to use all the space, particularly on a trip like this. I mean, under my seat, I've got my recovery kit under there. Even though it's a basic recovery kit, under your seat, I'm running a few GoPro mounts and a couple of boxes there, and actually behind your seat is a 500 watt lithium inverter, 240 volt, that's tucked behind that seat as well. So, you know, we've got quite a bit set up behind the seating.
Fantastic. So that was a quick whip around of the Wildtrak Jimny, mate. Now, I did notice that you don't have a sleeping system out in the car. Do you sleep inside the Jimny, do you?
Well, I tried, but it didn't work. So we used one of the Wildtrak stretcher tents to have a night skip in.
How'd that go for the rest of the Gunbarrel that we're doing?
It's been good. They're very, very comfortable, and you can get a pretty good night's sleep there. It's a light system, so it works for this type of travel.
Fantastic. All right, mate, well, let's crack on with camp night number 6, and then day 7 is sure to come.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's been great. Car's going well. Everyone's having a good time. Really looking forward to the last bit of the trip.
Fantastic, mate. All right, I'll see you over there.
Good on you. Thanks, Tony.
Cheers.
Comfortable with the trail then?
Yeah. They're just leaving it as is. Oh, fuck to
Now, I hope you enjoyed that fantastic episode, guys. What a punishing section of the Gunbarrel Highway. Look forward to hitting episode 4, where we take the team all the way through to Yalara. Whilst on the Gunbarrel Highway, the boys and I used Wildtrak Australia products. For more information, check out wildtrak.com.au.